Tired of seeing and using the same cards as everyone else? Want to mix up your playstyle and catch someone off guard? We're going to cover the most underrated and underused trooper cards. One thing I've noticed is definitely a meta in the cards everyone is running for each class. While each class has obvious cards that are going to be a strong combination, the cards we're going to cover may help you catch an enemy off guard, giving you the upper hand in a fight. Some of these will be very situational, based off the game modes and map. Others will complement specific primary weapons and playstyles. I would love to hear from you, so in the comments, let me know you're here. If you enjoy this kind of video, hit that like button and let me know in the comments as well. And then hit that subscribe and notification button. I would love your guys' support. It really helps get the channel found, and stay tuned till the end and we'll play a round of Can I Get Up There? Where we see what we can climb on top of. Some of these are going to be useful, most of them aren't, but it's always fun. The first card that I have, and the one that I really wanted to talk about, is the Flash Pistol for the Assault class. The Flash Pistol is a card that is very poorly described compared to what it actually can do. If you've played any other shooter, you're used to having a secondary weapon that you can switch to instead of reloading. The Flash Pistol fills that role for the Assault class. It's a strong secondary weapon that, unlike every other card, doesn't have a cooldown. You can switch to and from it as much as you would like. It does 35 damage at close range and has a high rate of fire even though it is a single fire pistol. The alternate fire can blind an enemy if it hits them, and it does 5 damage. The blind will work regardless of where you hit the enemy player, even if you're hitting them from behind, which can really surprise someone not expecting it and allow you to troll somebody who's not paying too much attention. The best thing, however, about the Flash Pistol is your primary will continue to cool as normal even while you have the Flash Pistol out. So I run this card when I'm using a slower rate of fire or a long-range weapon, like the EL16HFE or the A280. When the primary weapon goes on a forced cooldown, pull out the Flash Pistol and keep the fight going. Once the Flash Pistol needs to cool, or it's been 3 seconds, switch back to your primary weapon and you are never out of the fight. Since the EL16HFE has a slower rate of fire as well, it isn't great for close-range engagements. The Flash Pistol, however, is very strong in close range, since you can fire it as fast as you can tap that trigger. Although it does a little bit less damage, it's far more forgiving, and it can definitely help you survive if you're using the EL16HFE and get caught off guard. Another great thing about this card is, unlike other cards, when you upgrade it, you're not decreasing the cooldown since there is no cooldown. You are increasing the length of time that a target can be blinded by the alternate fire. And you'll know that they're blinded when you hit them, since you'll see them put their hand up in their face like they're about to sneeze. You can take down enforcers pretty easily if you can get that blind off and catch them off guard. The downside of the Flash Pistol is that you do have to give up your toughen up ability, which really hurts sometimes, especially if you're super aggressive like myself. Toughen up is usually my preferred card, but I've been giving the Flash Pistol more of a go now. Although Toughen Up is amazing and it will let you regenerate your health right away, if you're using the Assault training card, which I always recommend having equipped, you're getting life back on kills as well with that. So that way you're not losing out completely, you just need to make sure that you're killing people. The second and the most overpowered card that is not being used is the Disruptor card for the Officer class. The strength of the Disruptor card is that it's great for pushing corners or large group of troops. This ability, when activated, will place every weapon in an area on cooldown, making it so that the enemy can't fight back, and making it so you're shooting fish in a barrel. If you can manage to get off a good flank, this is the best feeling in the world. This ability will also disable any turrets, allowing you and your team to advance safely without having to worry about them shooting back. If you're on Camino and on either side pushing phase 1, this is how you can break the lines, and it does have a short casting time, so it's a little bit hard to master when you start it versus when it'll actually go off. It's also line of sight based, so you need to be able to see the enemy and need to make sure that they're in front of you for this to work. It will take a little bit of practice to get right and to understand how far it'll actually be effective, and you can increase the distance each time you upgrade it as well, making it even better each time you upgrade it. The range actually gets pretty long, and I was shocked when I was running this in Blast the other night on how far I could actually knock out somebody's weapons. This ability goes good with any loadout, but specifically for those who like to charge in like a madman. Just be sure that before you turn the corner, you activate the ability. It does have about a 2 to 3 cast time. Unlike most of the other cards, you can activate this ability and still roll, and it will still go off in those 2 to 3 seconds, which is really useful, especially if you're trying to break a corner on Camino or break a doorway. For this ability, you really don't have to give up much ability-wise to get this one. It will replace the turret, and you cannot have your squad shield. However, if you're just wanting battle points, which is the majority of officer players out there, you will have to either give up Bounty Hunter, Officer's Presence, or your improved battle command. I tend to run this card all the time in Blast since I don't really care about battle points in Blast since I primarily like playing troopers in that game mode. And for the most part, when I'm playing by myself or not streaming, I'm generally playing more troopers than heroes anyway, mainly because I enjoy trooper play in this game so much. If you're still wanting to get all of your battle points, I would recommend dropping your battle command instead of your Officer's Presence and your Bounty Hunter. The reason I say this, even though I know Recharge Battle Command can give you a ton of points quick, Officer's Presence is a passive card that you don't have to think about activating and will always give you extra points, and Bounty Hunter will always give you extra points as well. Recharge Battle Command is only giving you extra points when you cast it on friendlies or you cast it on yourself, and it does have a cooldown. So if you're wanting more battle points, you can do without the battle command and take the Disruptor as opposed to losing out on Officer's Presence or Bounty Hunter. There are going to be people who disagree with me on that, and that is okay. That's just my opinion. The next card that is useful for almost every single class in this game is the Marksmanship card. Each class has it, but I only see Sniping Specialists run it. This card will automatically cool down your weapon with each headshot kill. This allows you to perform better in those multi-enemy engagements that I love to talk about so much on this channel, since every headshot will clear your heat, and if you're using the EL16 HFE, Blurg, A280 variant, it allows you to auto-cool while engaging. Since your weapons overheat rather quickly, you can stay in the fight longer. It's good for close-range players as well, running the CR2 or the TL50. Get a good headshot kill in, and you're able to run and gun until you can't run anymore. Now, if you're a heavy player and not in a close range fight or not using the TL50, I do not recommend this card. The heavy weapons are too inconsistent with headshots in order to really benefit there. This card is very underused and I'm guilty of it as well. Granted, I tend to run the SE44C a lot and that thing never overheats anyway, but I have started to kind of run this on my assault classes, especially when I'm doing blast and I'm running and gunning with the CR2. Now for the heavy class, I have two cards here that I want to talk about that you really should be using a little bit more. So the first one that I want to bring up is the detonator ability. This is like a C4 in any other game. You can throw it and then explode it right next to a group of players, or drop it near an objective and wait for someone to come into the objective and get a free kill. I have found it to be extremely useful when fighting through doorways on defense, since you can toss it and explode it as soon as someone tries to push, or toss it into the middle of a group of people and then explode it and get 2 to 3 kills pretty quick. It also makes great traps if you can place it on the door itself and then blow it as soon as someone opens the door, since it'll fall to the ground. Now the enemy team can see where it is placed, so you don't want to place it somewhere that they'll be able to shoot it and destroy it before they enter the doorway or the room that you're trying to hold. It does replace the impact grenade, and the impact grenade is amazing if you get caught in a tight spot. But the detonator is for those who will think far ahead or who like to hold a spot and maybe camp a little bit. I've seen it used a few times, but if used correctly, it can do some real damage when it's placed properly, especially on objective-based game modes. The other card we need to talk about for the heavy class, and for the love of God, heavies, you need to be running this card on Hoth. Use the Ion Torpedo on open maps where you do not have air superiority. Imperials on Hoth, I'm talking to you. The Ion Torpedo is able to lock onto vehicles, including air, and it'll help your team out a lot if you're trying to take down an armored target or objective, or if air is just strafing your team to death, you can take out an air unit with it. While one Ion Torpedo won't take an air unit out by itself, hopefully enough people will learn to use this card in these situations, so that way you and a friend can take out an air unit pretty quickly. The more it's upgraded, the faster it does recharge, allowing you to shoot it more rapidly. You also don't really need to worry about upgrading it since it is just a few seconds, so it's one of those cheap cards that you can get just to have in your arsenal and pull out whenever you need it, since it is extremely situational and based on the map and how effective your pilots are. It's not as exciting as the ion launcher since you do have to lock on and fire it, but it's much more effective and accurate since the ion launcher shots, the projectiles don't track moving targets well, and allow the moving targets are able to move out of the way. Those are the 5 cards that I have that are really kind of underused in this game and that should really be ran a little bit more. And so now, in this round of Can I Get Up There?, I'm going to show you how a normal trooper can get on top of the hangars on Endor. This is near the end of Phase 2 on Galactic Assault and on the whole match of Blast. This is normally best for your long-range snipers or your long-ranged assault rifles. So you'll need to use the middle hangar, and on one of the sides, you'll see some boxes that you can jump up on top of. Now, you do need to jump from one location to the next and kind of play leapfrog here until you get to near the very top. From there, you'll need to use a roll in order to get up. Since roll is not just in order to avoid lightsabers or avoid taking damage, it can also be used to get over things you're not supposed to climb on top of. When you're up there on Galactic Assault, it won't be out of bounds. You can run back and forth amongst the entire top of the hangar. But on Blast, only the front part is in bounds. So there's not much cover. You'll kind of need to shoot and move, and don't be afraid to go out of bounds and then come back in bounds at the last second. I hope this video helped somebody out there, and if it did, please let me know and make sure to hit that like button. And leave a comment down below to let me know that you guys stopped by. New videos are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, streams at 8 p.m. Central on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I really would love your guys' support if you could hit that subscribe and notification button. Thank you all for taking the time to watch, and as always, I will see you in game.